The Double Life Part 1. Seeds of doubt. Anna had always considered her marriage ideal. 5 years of life with Dmitry seemed like the embodiment of her dreams. A cozy home, a stable income, shared interests, and plans for the future. They met at a corporate event, he, a successful sales manager, she, a talented designer. Their relationship developed rapidly but consciously. A wedding after a year, and 2 years later, the purchase of an apartment in a new building. Everything began to change imperceptibly. First, small details that Anna tried not to notice. Dmitry started staying late at work. Urgent projects, he explained. His phone now always lay screen down, and he swiped through notifications with unusual haste. He began traveling on business trips more often, although his job hadn't previously required travel. Once, while sorting the laundry basket, Anna caught a faint scent of unfamiliar perfume on the collar of his shirt, a sweetish scent with hints of jasmine. She remembered she used a citrus perfume. That night, for the first time, she couldn't sleep, tossing and turning in bed, listening to her husband's breathing. "Are you okay?" Dmitry mumbled sleepily when she turned over yet again. "Yes, just can't sleep," Anna replied, trying to keep her voice natural. She decided not to make a scene. Instead, she began to observe. She noted his return times, memorized details of his work stories, cross-checked his business trip dates with the calendar. Gradually, an alarming picture emerged. His stories didn't match up, and his explanations became more and more convoluted. Inner torment. Anna was tormented by doubts. "Maybe I'm just overthinking," she thought, sitting in a cafe after work. "Everyone goes through tough times. Maybe he really has a complex project." But her intuition wouldn't let go. She remembered how just a month ago they were planning a vacation together, Dmitry enthusiastically choosing places, discussing routes. Now, he responded to her suggestions with indifference. "Let's decide later. Not now." A talk with a friend on the weekend. Anna met with Katya, her best friend since university. They sat in a cozy cafe overlooking the park, drinking lattes and talking. "You're quiet today," Katya noticed, looking intently at her friend. "Is everything okay?" Anna stirred her coffee, gathering her thoughts. "I don't know. I think Dmitry is cheating on me." Katya raised her eyebrows in surprise. "What makes you think that? He's always been so attentive." "That's just it. Was. But now, he's constantly on his phone, comes home late, brushes off conversations. And I smell someone else's perfume on his shirt. Maybe you should just ask him directly," Katya suggested. "I'm afraid. If I'm wrong, it will ruin everything. And if I'm right..." Anna fell silent, looking out the window. "I don't know if I'm ready for the truth." "Listen," Katya said seriously. "You deserve to know who you're living with. But don't jump to conclusions yet. Maybe he has problems at work. Try to talk calmly." Anna nodded, but inside, everything tightened with anxiety. Part 2. The decision. Anna understood. She needed proof. But how to get it without turning into a paranoid? She was afraid of being wrong, afraid of destroying her family because of her own assumptions. One evening, sitting in a cafe after work, she accidentally overheard a conversation between 2 women at the next table. One was telling how she hired a private detective to check on her husband. "And what did you find out?" the second one asked curiously. Turned out he'd been seeing a colleague all that time. The detective took photos, recorded conversations. "Now I have all the evidence for court." Anna froze. This was exactly what she needed. Objective proof without having to turn into a detective herself. The next day, she found an agency online. The meeting with the detective, Alexei, took place in a small coffee shop not far from her work. I understand your situation, Alexei said calmly, making notes in a notebook. We work confidentially. No unnecessary questions, just facts. He explained the process. Surveillance, information gathering, photo and video recording. Anna hesitated, but the thought that she might be living a lie tipped the scales. All right, she finally said, reaching for her wallet. The first days of surveillance after signing the contract, Anna lived in a state of constant tension. She tried to act normally, but every call from Dmitry made her heart clench. In the first days, she couldn't concentrate on work. Colleagues noticed her distraction. Anna, are you okay? Asked Sergei, her direct supervisor. You seem distant today. It's fine, just a bit tired, she smiled. I'll be better tomorrow. In the evenings, she checked her phone, waiting for messages from the detective. Alexei had promised not to bother her without important information, but the waiting was exhausting. Memories of the beginning. Sometimes Anna caught herself mentally returning to the past. She recalled their first date. Dmitry had invited her to a small Italian restaurant where they talked until closing. He told her about his dreams, laughed at her jokes, looked at her as if she were the only person in the world. Or their trip to the sea a year after the wedding. They rented a house right by the shore, woke up to the sound of the surf, walked on the beach until dawn. Back then, she thought it would always be like that. These memories made the suspicions even more painful. Part 3. The game of surveillance. After a week, Alexei called. There are initial results. Would you like to meet? In the same coffee shop, the detective laid out photographs in front of her. In one, Dmitry leaving a restaurant with a young woman. In another, they were sitting close together in a park. In a third, kissing by the entrance of an unfamiliar building. Anna silently looked at the pictures, feeling the world around her losing its clarity. That's not all, Alexei said quietly, handing her a flash drive. There's a recording of their conversation here. At home, waiting for Dmitry to leave for his client meeting, Anna played the recording. Her husband's voice sounded tender, almost loving. I know it's wrong, but I can't be without you. Everything will change soon, I promise. When? The woman's voice was full of impatience. How long do I have to wait? Soon. I'll talk to Anna. Just give me time. Anna turned off the recording. The room fell quiet, too quiet. She sat, staring at the wall, trying to grasp the reality of what was happening. Internal dialogue. 6 months. She thought, clenching her fists. 6 months he's been living a double life. And I believed him, waited, tried to understand. How could he? Questions without answers swirled in her head. Why didn't he tell the truth sooner? Why did he choose to lie? And most importantly, did she still love him? Preparing for the conversation, Anna decided not to rush. She wanted to think it all over, to prepare for the conversation. For several days, she behaved as usual, smiled, cooked dinner, asked about work. Inside, however, a storm was raging. She re-watched all their joint photos, reread old messages, recalled all the promises. And each time she came to the same conclusion. She couldn't live like this any longer. Part 4. The explosion. Dmitry returned late. Anna was waiting for him in the kitchen, holding the printed photographs. Where were you? Her voice sounded calm, almost indifferent. At a client meeting, he replied habitually, taking off his jacket. Did something happen? Yes, it did. She placed the photographs on the table. Explain this. Dmitry froze. His face contorted for a moment, then he regained his composure. Where did you get these? It doesn't matter. Answer the question. Who is she? He paused, then sat down at the table. Her name is Elena. We work together. For how long? About 6 months. Those words hit harder than any proof. 6 months of lies, half-truths, secrecy. How could you? Her voice trembled. We loved each other. I still love you, he said. But there was no confidence in his voice. Love me? Anna laughed, and her laughter sounded eerie. You call this love? Hiding, lying, living a double life? I didn't know how to tell you. I was afraid of losing you. And now? Do you think after all this I can trust you? They talked until dawn. Dmitri tried to justify himself, spoke of passion, weakness, of being confused. Anna listened, and with each of his words, she understood. This was the end.